I am still very much getting used to this new hair. Ting! It's a lot cooler for the weather that's hot at the moment, and it doesn't give me dysphoria, which is great, because that's something that short haircuts have done in the past. Harry here, aka Sexy and Geeky. I have recorded a very long podcast, about 2.5 hours, that I've cut down to 2, and I'm releasing in separate chunks to try and keep things thematic and on point. Basically, I really wanted to plug something I'm helping someone work on. Sextories issue 3, sex erotic comics anthology, with different art styles and diversity of body types and different orientations and actual like discussion, story, narrative, consent, or at least a clear sign that all the characters involved know each other and know what's happening, and it's really good and positive. Ever since reading Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky, oh my god, it's so good. I wanted to discuss, or see discussed, sex in comics as a narrative device, as a plot point, as character development, as something more than just porn, as well as about sex being porn, and like where it stands and where it should be in comics, like what's its current ideas around that. So, to see this discussed properly, because I don't think I've seen it discussed at all, I invited some comic artists who I love from various orientations and backgrounds and countries to discuss sex as a thing that can be in comic form. We have got Tab Kimpton of Discord Comics, Chaos Comics, Minority Monsters and Shades of A, who's made comics about LGBTQ people, asexuality, and just finding yourself. There's a lot of slice of life coming of age stories, as well as smut. He's drawn quite a bit of good smut. 2, Cami, creator of Get Your Man over on Tumblr, a drenched in colours and rainbows and sparkles comic about hella fun gay sex. Rain, who's making Sextories and organised the whole project and does artwork and did the cover for it. And 4, Paul Savage, a comedian who's from the north of England that I know and love and worked with before, who does really short, like 3-panel or 1-panel gag strips. The full podcast is probably going to be about an hour long, and then there'll be extras put out in different chunks about off-the-topic things that were discussed on tangents and were really fun, but I think I should put out separately, otherwise it'll be just too long. One thing I'm doing is I'm going to give people's intros in the actual proper podcast, but I didn't want to throw away this 16 or 17 minute segment where we introduced ourselves to each other and just had fun chats. I thought it was too much fun, so here's a little preview, consider it a preview of what's coming next, as well as me actually giving you guys an update. I will be back with you soon with the full podcast. I'm not quite sure how long I've got left to edit on it. I've gone through and edited the whole thing. I just need to arrange it into relevant thematic chunks. So look forward to that very soon. For now, enjoy the audio.
Hello.
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 Hey, hello.
Hi, thank you. Hello. I waved, even though this is audio. I'm a fucking idiot.
Not idiotic at all, it's charming. Paul's a comedian I have hired twice now because I really like him, and 3 times actually. No,
yeah.
you headlined twice for me now, but also has a comic.
Yay.
Because I think, like me, takes on too many work ideas and just sees which one's complete.
That is so painfully true. It's not funny. It's yeah. I'm going to start naming all of the knots in my shoulders after different projects.
Do you do that thing where you're a bit like, oh wow, this bit wrecks this part of my hand, and typing wrecks this part, drawing wrecks this part of my hand. So if I just do one each hour, I'll probably not get RSI.
Yeah, that's kind of it. What I do is I like to separate my projects into different rooms, and so when I'm tired of one, just walk into a different room, and I've now ruined my entire house because there's not a room.
Just sitting in the garden, building mud pies out of dirt. Like, this is going to be big.
Yeah, that's it. Basically, I try and monetize all of my hobbies. So,
Yeah.
and then you just sit there just going, well, I now do nothing for fun.
You know what they say, figure out what you like to do and then figure out how to make money for it.
Yeah. I'm really trying to not enjoy anything anymore.
That's the thing, you've got to keep something to yourself, because like
Everything is,
there was a time I tried to let's play everything I was playing as well, and just it wound up with me not wanting to do any games because I wasn't in the mood to be funny, and I just wound up with having nothing, absolutely nothing I could do that I would just enjoy and unwind to.
Yep, pretty much.
It happens.
Hello, my name is Tab Kimpton. Right now I'm drawing a lot of comics. I wrote a 6-year-long project called Chaos Comics, which finished 2 years ago. That's my magnum opus, which is a LGBT slice of life romance, which is about as heavy as 2 bricks and will kill a puppy if you drop it on them.
That's been tested.
Yeah, I literally just finished on Friday another 3-year project called Shades of A, which is a parody of 50 Shades, but with an asexual protagonist. Which, that lasted me about 3 years.
Oh my god! I just realized where the parody comes in. I just got it. I'm so sorry. I read it.
It is basically I read 50 Shades and got really angry.
Wait, how not?
Yeah, and instead of burning the book because I don't know, it didn't really do anything. I started. I know I wanted to write something about asexuality for a while, and the thing that really pissed me off about the book was more that someone would pick it up and think that that's what kink was like. So it's about a guy called Anwar who gets dragged to a kink night by his best friend, and there he meets a middle-aged transvestite called Chris Slate, and they make quick friends. And then it's about the relationships they go through. Generally, it's a story about romances that sit sort of outside the box. It follows a couple of the plot points in the book, particularly the hardware scene, which was one of, I thought was the funniest one. And then the plot just kind of goes blah as the characters that I've made take over a little bit. And then it sort of comes to the end.
I can see how Kamiko might have not noticed at first, because it does very much become its own thing.
Yeah, exactly. I've not read the book, so yeah.
Yeah, I was tempted to change the title of it for print publication to I think the other title I had in mind was something called Dear Universe, but I think in some ways it's better to keep it with what it was. It is a shit fanfic of a shit fanfic of a shit fanfic. But
at what point does that loop round thing?
Well, you came full circle, full fanfic Ouroboros.
Yeah.
Going back, it went shit, then more shit, then more shit, and now you've gone right back round to actually pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
And
cheers.
Yeah.
It's almost like constant improvement. Has anyone ever heard of the what was that saying? The good artist copy, great artist steal, and by stealing a project, you're taking ownership of it and making it your own, deciding what you didn't like about how someone else did something, and just making it how you would do it.
Yep. I heard that, and I also think that's very true.
I had a good idea. Many people have done this since Shades of Grey especially came out, and were like, nope, the world needs better than this. If it doesn't exist, I will make the fucking thing.
Well, that's 90% of stuff is I started doing stand-up because I saw people doing it wrong, and I went, well, I can do a thing.
Yeah.
I've had funny thoughts. I don't know if I can do it, but I certainly, if this guy's allowed to try, then same with comics. Is I read lots of very bad ones and went, maybe I can have a bash at this. See if there's presumably out there somebody has started because of what I've done and gone, he's doing it terribly as well.
Well, I think it's definitely...
That's actually like a beautiful explanation for why people sometimes make mistakes. It's just so other people can get inspired to make it better.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that whenever I say, oh, you're a real inspiration to someone.
What you actually say is you're really, really
You're really going to inspire a lot of people there.
What actually gets you up and doing a project more? Is it seeing it being done crap and wanting to fix it, or is it seeing it being done well? Because I don't know about other people, but if you're like, you know what, I can do better, that's positive thinking my end. But if I'm looking at other people's beautiful artwork, like, oh god, it's so beautiful, I'll just sit in my corner and cry and not draw anything. So
I've certainly had it with other things where I've looked at that like a brilliant thing that somebody's made and go, I don't even know how I'd get started trying that. Whereas I've looked at some of the things where you go, I could probably have a bash at doing that. Because sometimes the really great stuff, you don't even know what it is about it that's really great. You're just like, that's really awesome. Whereas you look at something terrible and go, you know, like we've all got those sort of films that they're not bad necessarily. There's nothing technically wrong with it. You just go, but with a bit of tightening, a bit of editing, if they squeeze that down, if it was only 70 minutes instead of being 95, if they got rid of this character who doesn't really do anything, you can fix that quite easily. That would be a decent thing. And I think that's part of being inspired by stuff, is going, I want to fix that.
Well, isn't it what they say, that half of art is your actual skill and the other half is perception of other people's work? Which is why you get the ever-flowing cycle of I love my work, I hate my work, which is the better a drawing you get, the more you look at other people's work and understand why they're better than you. In the same way, it's the line of incompetence, which is an incompetent person can't see that they are incompetent. So when you're young and you're crap at, you're naive at drawing, that's a better word for it. You can't understand what is wrong with your own work, and it's when you start seeing things that you can change, then you both improve, but you also think that you're always staying at the same level. Yeah,
Kami, do you want to describe your comic?
It's
so beautiful.
it's basically the ultimate author appeal sort of thing. I just sat down and thought, what would I like to draw? And that's kind of what I did. And what happened was that I sort of invented these two characters who are in a relationship or getting there or whatever. And it happens like in all these different universes. Like there's the 1900s universe where they're like in Canada. They're usually in Canada, and it's like still the wilderness, and one has had to flee from England because of weird accusation that's been made towards him, and they meet in the snow and one of them almost dies and stuff like that. And it's also like future AU where one is a robot and the other is a human, because I have infatuations with things, with topics, and I'm super, super into something, and then it changes, and I want to do something else. But I sort of also want to stick with the same characters, because once I've come up with characters that I like, I don't really want to let go of them. Before, I'd never really been able to draw a comic, not because I wasn't able to draw, but because I wasn't able to settle on anything and stick with it for long enough. And so this is sort of just me doing everything at the same time, and just doing whatever seems fun.
Yeah, whatever takes your fancy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
The next project I'm doing is called Gay Butlers, which is, I just sat down and was like, right, if I have to draw a comic, what would I draw one about? No, it's Gay Butlers with 2 T's. It's got a fancier title. And it's basically me just drawing pornography for the next year or so. Because it's also a bit of a social experiment, because I've just done a comic about asexuality, which wasn't as... I've got some really hardcore fans who really appreciated it. But my last comic was much more approachable for a lot of other people, and I made a lot more money on it. And I always joked that if I just wrote gay porn, I'd make a lot of money. So I want to see if that works.
I was going to say, your previous comic had all letters of LGBT though, and that's a far more vocal, and because of it larger and knowing each other group than asexuality, which is kind of still just coming into any kind of public awareness. Which is, it's one of those weird things that we went through, like, masses of gay awareness, and now we've gone into massive trans awareness. We've kind of skipped quite a few things. Like, bisexual erasure is still very much a problem that's not been solved.
Yeah, sadly, like, even within the LGBT culture, that it's very much shunned even there, which I find very, very strange. Because, I mean, if you're like a group of people that has been treated badly by society, then why would you like turn around and do the same thing to another, even more shunned group of people? Why?
No, totally. When I first started writing Chaos, one of my characters is black, has parents that come from the Gambia, which is a very common place for immigration to the UK. And I wrote a very accepting set of parents. And then I got an email from a couple of people who, people of colour who had parents, they weren't like Batman, and they said actually that they found that their parents were really unaccepting in a lot of black and Asian communities, at least in the UK. Homosexuality, it really isn't a thing. It's something that get you completely ostracised, which is why, I don't know, in some ways they need a lot more support because of it being such a thing that family, really won't tolerate it. And I just assumed that because people had dealt with racism or something like that, that they wouldn't turn around and be homophobic. But yeah, it can be a really massive problem, and that is 16-year-old me thinking that the world was sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, it seems to be like a common theme, like do unto others as others have done unto you, even though it's super stupid when you stop to think about it. But seems to be like the nature of humans to sort of pass that on in a certain way.
I mean, one of the good ways of fixing that is, like, hopefully making good media, like all of you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Segue into Rain and her amazing sex-positive, sexy comic. Rain, Sextories is an anthology, so there's a lot of artists in that one, including yourself. Could you say a bit about that? Because number 3 is currently on Vakami for fundraising.
Exactly, and it's so close about what you're talking about diversity, etc. It's an anthology, and we try to talk about sex, but more than talk about sex, talk through sex, and try to explain stories that have sex in it, but we try to have an open view of sexuality. And Sextories, you can find bar stories, or, well, homosexual stories, bisexual stories, heterosexual stories, but the common way of act of that stories is that they are meaty, try to explain more than a couple of people that have sex. We try to explain stories that are closer. We are trying to empathize with the readers. This is why you can find a lot of diversity in that anthology, because we understand sex as a natural thing, as an open thing, and we want to try to explain to the rest of people, because sexuality is usually just treated like
taboo.
Yes, it's like must be beautiful and
stereotype.
Thank you so much. How can I explain this shortly using straight
from
words?
The ones that I've read so far that you've sent me for proofreading, Sextories is an anthology with many different art styles, many different orientations, many different characters, so that a lot of people can either see themselves in it or just see what they like. And it's not just man and woman enter room, they have sex with penis vagina, the end. There's like talking and like dialogue, things they like, and actual consent and discussion, and it feels more like actual humans than a lot of the boring and trite cliche out there.
Do you draw, or are you more of a wrangler of artists?
Actually, I am both.
Yeah.
I draw. Actually, the cover of this number is mine, and I'm trying to make that all the artists send the comics at the times that they must send it, and try to make everything possible.
She also sent my current Facebook and Twitter avatar.
full podcast coming soon. Please, in the meantime, do check out everyone's individual sites and projects from the links below, and the Vakami campaign for crowdfunding, Sextories #3.